Canadiens lose 6-4 against the Boston Bruins. Cole Caulfield and Brendan Gallagher push their case out front to be the top goal scorers on the team. And also, while Oliver Kapanen made his debut for the Habs, it was another rookie who really impressed. Welcome to Game On Montreal. My name is Conor Tomalty. I am your host once again for our 5 to 7 minute segment. Just reminding you to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, whatever you got to do to make sure that you're updated with content from Game Over Montreal and the rest of the Game Over Network. And speaking of which, why don't you go over to your homepage and add Game Over Network to that homepage so that way you get all the content that you can handle when it comes to hockey and also Montreal, our market. But that's not the other thing to talk about today. We have a lot of headlines to get into, but very quickly, we're just going to talk about our sponsor once again, Hyperdrive Hockey. Hyperdrive Hockey is a show hosted by Daphne Malbeuf and Maxime Van Hoot, two incredible hockey minds who have worked in the media industry in Montreal for a long time, coming from the French side of things, but they're now doing some English broadcasts for us, and an incredibly talented duo who talks about everything to do with hockey, not just exclusively the NHL. They also talk about the PWHL. They talk about European hockey. They're talking about everything, all the discourse you can handle, so make sure that you can find them. You can find them on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. Tune in, subscribe, and please watch their show because they really do good content. So just talking about things here today back on Game On Montreal, we have a lot to talk about when it comes to the Canadiens. I think the most crucial thing is that they, following a 1-0 win to start their season over the Toronto Maple Leafs, they made their way to Boston and played back-to-back games on back-to-back nights against another Original Six opponent, but this time it did not go their way. It was a 6-4 deficit that they lost by, and it was not Sam Montembeault who took the crease for the Canadiens, it was Kay Imam. Obviously, because Montembeault had 48 saves the night prior, clearly they didn't want to have him go 2 games back-to-back after the solid performance he had. Kay Imam was not super sharp. That last goal that he gave in when it was a 5-4 deficit and the Canadiens had started climbing back was a clear pass that went through the crease but hit off his paddle and into the back of the net. It's one you could tell he really wanted to have back. So it's not a great game for the Canadiens when it comes to the score at the end of it, but there was a lot of good aspects to talk about. They're now 1-1-0 on the season. Of course, the season is very short and there's still 80 games, but there were 2 players to talk, or a couple players to talk about, but let's talk about Cole Caulfield to start. I believe there was probably on Tony Marinaro's podcast at one point, Stu Cowan said something along the lines of Cole Caulfield is a sure scorer. He is a sniper. He was one of the best goal scorers, if not the best goal scorer in his draft class. And Martin St. Louis is not going to be somebody who teaches him how to score, but where to put himself in the right position to score. And last night we saw that. He was able to go undetected across, around the goal line, pick up the puck and score it past the pad of Jeremy Swayman, making his second goal in 2 games. He's still on pace to score 82 goals this season. Whether he does that or not, of course, it's not super realistic, but I like making the joke. Speaking of which, there's another Canadiens player who is also on pace to score 82 goals, and that's Brendan Gallagher, the newlywed Brendan Gallagher, I should say. But the reason why Brendan Gallagher is so impactful is because of where he slots in all-time on Canadiens scoring. Brendan Gallagher, I believe, now scores 220 goals all-time for his NHL career, which still has him at 22nd all-time when it comes to the Habs scoring, but he's 4 away from cracking the top 20. Who are the 2 people that are in front of him? Well, pretty interesting names. You have Peter Mahovlich and you have Guy Carbonneau, not out of all people. These are bona fide scorers who were heavily long time tenured with the Canadiens, but Brendan Gallagher in interesting company as well, and he had really built his office in front of the net, and that's where he had his success last night once again. There's one more player we should talk about though, and that's not Oliver Kapanen, who, yes, made his debut last night, but is not the rookie to focus on. That, to me, is Lane Hutson, who was impressive last night. He was just under 23 minutes played last night, but it was how he handled himself and how he looked on the power play. We've harped a lot on the power play for the Canadiens because last year, I believe they were 25th in the league when it came to percentage, and now with Alex Burrows taking a different role on the team, Martin St. Louis is the one heading up the power play. And so far, they're 2 for 11 on the season before going 0 for 30 in the preseason, and we're seeing them actually start to, piece things together. And it's not just that we're going to see them relying on, the first power play unit, but also seeing Lane Hutson get some time maybe in the first power play unit, because he looked really good once again last night. He got one of the assists, looked really, really sharp while playing. The Canadiens are now going to play the Ottawa Senators on Saturday night. So the Senators are now actually coming off a win against the defending Stanley Cup champions, the Florida Panthers, winning 3-1 yesterday. So going to see if the Ottawa Senators can go 2-0-0 on the season to start for them, and the Canadiens looking to bounce back and still show if they have that impressive goal scoring capabilities like they've debuted all throughout this season. So that's going to do it for us today. Again, my name is Conor Tomalty, host of Game On Montreal, reminding you once again, please like, comment, and subscribe, and add Game Over Montreal or the Game Over Network, whichever one suits you better, but hopefully both, to your homepage to get all the hockey content that you can handle. Thank you guys once again, and we'll see you tomorrow.